Overpopulation. With birth rates increasing and death rates decreasing, is it too much, too late for humanity? Research shows that over 50% of people think that the biggest cause of overpopulation is the lack of education. The solution? Most seem to believe that it's education in women's reproductive health, yet our society is still not aware of the seriousness of overpopulation. With population expected to double by 2050, it can only get worse for our planet. Already, we convert and destroy 20% of the Earth's biomass. Resource demands have risen. The overproduction of food has destroyed ecosystems across the world. And the meat industry has contributed more to global warming than all forms of transportation.
I do think resources could be used more sparingly because lots of people are using them for things like luxuries nowadays. So lots of people are using them for like holidays with money and maybe even like sunscreen and stuff like that. The chemical could be used from that to make things that we need to survive. Because you have lots of people like starving with food that lots of people are just using in restaurants and cafes. You have a lot of people who are dying from like diseases with medicines that lots of people are just using just because they think they're ill when they're not. And if we really cut down, we could really possibly make everyone's lives almost equal. I do believe people should have access to the food and water necessary for them to survive because, well, it would make everyone a lot more equal and it would like really balance the class system because you have these people in rich classes like access to like some of the best food and the best necessities. But then you have people like who are barely even surviving on like just a bit of bread every week or something. But if everyone had like the necessary amount to survive, we would feel a lot more equal.
As living space decreases, so does respect for other people, leading to antisocial behaviour. Reports of a rise in crime rates dominate the current news. Fear seems to be becoming a huge feature of our society and people feel unsafe being on the streets alone. The advancement of technology only makes it easier to commit crime. With no need for keys to open your car, vehicle theft has become more and more common.
Just speared through the building like a fireball.
In order to reduce the rising crime rate, I think there needs to be more support, especially for young people who feel like crime is a last resort and they have nowhere else to turn. I think overpopulation has contributed to a rising crime rate because human beings are all incredibly diverse and no two people are the same. But with this diversity, unfortunately, comes intolerance and lack of understanding that leads to hate crime.
If you've seen films like Ready Player One, you've already caught a glimpse of the future we could be facing. As ground space fast disappears, our only option is to build upwards. Stackable houses seem crazy, but they are seemingly the only way forward for us.
I do think the government should probably decrease house prices to make them more affordable because what I can see from like housing markets, because I'm trying to get some of my family to move over from a different part of England over to here so they're more accessible for me. I have noticed that some of the houses have gone up by like an astronomical amount due to the fact that maybe the government just needs more money because they're going in basically the form of the Great Depression. I do think the housing crisis has become a lot like better over the recent years, but it's not that it's in a good state right now. I have seen like houses, even in very popular areas, they've still gone up for like months before someone's even considered buying it. But it's becoming a lot better because there's a lot more houses, even in like really, really bad areas. A lot of people are just buying just because, well, they need something.
An estimated 80 million acres of forest, roughly the size of Panama, is lost each year. About half of the world's tropical forests have been cleared. That's the equivalent of 27 football pitches lost every minute. Deforestation alone has a major impact on global warming. 75% of Brazil's emissions come solely from deforestation.
I think this rise in population is seriously affecting the environment because the more people there are, the more resources are required and the more carbon and greenhouse gases we're putting into the atmosphere, and nothing produces carbon like a first world human. But people keep having children and they're unaware of the damage that it's doing. Like, there's research showing that the Earth will warm more than 1.5 degrees by 2040, and because of that change in temperature, our food supply will become less secure. So our generation is lucky that we've led fairly normal lives, but future generations will probably grow up with things like carbon taxes and food rations. In order to save what's left of our natural environment, the world needs drastic changes, to the point where there's no documented historical precedent for what we should do in this situation. The best case scenario still means that millions of people will suffer and die because of things like droughts and heat waves and other natural disasters. The world's economy, culture and agriculture all need changes.
Despite overpopulation being the main source of problems, governments don't seem to be focusing on fixing it. The closest we have to a solution is the control of immigration and the China one-child policy. If the population continues to grow, it seems the government will have to begin rationing as resources diminish. It is likely we will also have to begin using tactics to reduce population in a manner which may seem both unfair and against human rights, as well as other such measures to shape and reduce population growth, particularly within government policies. As demonstrated by our previous questionnaire, education seems to be the best way forward. The more knowledge people have on the consequences of having large families and access to provisional family planning, as well as the financial incentives of smaller families, the more likely we are to control our population. However, there are high levels of disagreement towards it. It is an unpopular and highly criticised policy. The dark truth is that hundreds of women are forced to have abortions, as well as the murder of thousands of children each year in countries such as China. This is because people may decide to have a child depending on the gender. This creates cultural implications that could be seen in any nation of the world.
I do think China's one-child policy should be made illegal to prevent certain catastrophes, such as the really bad gender equality in the country of China, because there's so many males there and not many females. Also, females constantly forced to have abortions and be made sterile, which sort of can destroy them having a family, which to me sort of would equate happiness, which means we might get a sense of almost I may say even depression. I think the one-child rule had a really bad effect in trying to future, because I think people would end up trusting the government a lot less because of them integrating the rule in the first place. They would think, well, if they can't even allow me to have children freely, then I don't think they would really allow me to do a lot. And plus, I think it would really bring down the happiness level in the country.
All the little things add up and create a bigger impact. We need to start somewhere. Even if small, the solution will become greater. Because the future of our civilization and planet lies in our hands, we have to remember this planet is our only home. If we don't act now, we will lose it.